You're watching the Comm Syndicate live stream.
It's 11:59 on Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right, welcome back to the live stream. So we've got Drew from the Terminal Element, who is fishing right now. And if you hear a train going by, he's going to mute his mic. And we've also got Jared from 2 Alpha Solutions. We also have a guest. We've got Owen from Ham Radio with KR4 BAK. And
First meet.
Indeed. And if you're joining us on amateur radio,
good Lord, Jared.
So,
what the fuck did I get myself into?
I don't know.
Better than the train, buddy.
If anything, you could always just cut to the people skinny dipping near you, Drew.
That has been pretty funny.
If we lose control of the show. But anyway, if you're joining us on amateur radio, we're also going to be monitoring JS8 call throughout the show. So on 14.078 megahertz, so 20 meters, using call sign group at TCS. So feel free to send us your comments and questions there. And Drew, I think you're also going to be monitoring WinLink.
Yeah, send a WinLink message to my call sign. Can you throw that up on the screen? Kilo Golf 7 Yankee Sierra X-ray. So what I got set up here, you probably can't see most of it. I've got DL2MA and Manuel. He released an Android RDOP WinLink client, which is awesome. It's quite a challenge to use though. So I'm going to be periodically attempting to check in with HF and see if I can actually pick up a message here with just my cell phone out on the lake. So far, I've only really had good luck at night. RDOP is just a hard mode. But we're going to give it a shot. I'll be a little antisocial and duck behind my backpack here and check for emails here in a bit.
Excellent. And then I've got JS8 call running, so I will do my best to periodically take a look at that and see if anyone messages. But before we jump into the rest of our topics, Owen, do you want to talk a little bit about your channel and I guess how you got into amateur radio?
Hey, yeah, I will certainly, and thank you. And like you said, my name is Owen. My call sign is KR4BAK. I know the name is very original, ham radio with KR4BAK there. But yeah, I started back in, I think, January, February. Just small channel for me just to see if I could do it with the editing. I use a free editing software, so it's nothing fancy. But went out, and I love doing parks on the air. That's my biggest thing in ham radio, really and truly. So I figured why not get it started with doing some parks on the air activations. So mostly 5 out of 6 videos are about POTA, me going out to some local parks here in Virginia. And the one video that I did the best with is about my ham radio Go box. So it's made out of ammo can and basically, fully assembled. It's showing. So pretty cool with 50-watt rig in it that I can talk to repeaters on, stuff like that, and it's fully portable, has a battery in it and everything. So that did the best. But yeah, that's really the channel. So.
You're muted, Terrence.
I thought I dropped you guys.
No, you're good. I was trying to do too many things in the background here. But no, thanks for the recap. It looks like you've got a pretty cool channel. And so if anyone wants to subscribe to Owen's channel, I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now.
Sweet. I saw the Meshtastic stuff you posted. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, so you and Jared, didn't you guys set up a Meshtastic device on Jared's tower? Or?
Yeah, probably, I guess, was it about a month ago now, Jared, or so, right at a month and a half. We put up a Mesh Core repeater, which is slightly different. They're very similar. Both use 915 megahertz, same frequency, antennas and everything. Use the same board, you just flash it for different things. So we decided on Mesh Core here in our county. We just didn't have any Meshtastic or Mesh Core anything. So we decided on mesh core. It's more of an infrastructure based kind of thing. So we did that. We're up to 10 or 12 functioning repeaters now in the county, and another big one coming up here very, very soon on a mountaintop, which will connect back into Jared's and a few others. So we're having a blast with it. It's really fun.
That's cool. That's cool that you guys are setting all that up.
Hey Terrence, we should disclose to the viewers we have activated a new feature on WinLink that does not allow you to tune out until I actually catch something. So we might be at this for a bit. Sorry everyone, I should have said something first. You're in it. You're in it for the long haul. I do have something about 10 feet off here that keeps bumping the spinner. It's probably a lot smaller than I think. What's that, dead body? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Live stream over, guys.
Well, I guess we can kind of jump into some of our topics that we've got prepared, but tonight I guess I'd like to start with just a simple question, which is how do you know what you know? And I know that probably sounds like a odd way to start a discussion about emergency communications, but a few weeks ago, a major earthquake hit Venezuela, and within hours, reports began appearing from organizations across the amateur radio community, and many of them told essentially a very similar story, and that was that commercial power was disrupted. And there's a radio club in Venezuela that activated their emergency communications, and then the International Amateur Radio Union requested worldwide protection of 7.135 megahertz. And then in neighboring countries, they were basically standing by in case additional assistance was needed. And then the reporting largely stopped, which was kind of interesting. And the things that we know are that operators activated, we know frequencies were reserved for emergency use, but really beyond that, the picture becomes a little less clear because we don't know if hospitals were relying on amateur radio. We don't know if emergency traffic was being passed. We don't know if shelters were coordinating logistics over HF, or did operators simply stand by, prepared to help if they were needed. And I think the honest answer is we don't really know. And I think that's actually the most interesting part of that story, is that there appears to be a lot of just circular reporting on this this topic. And I think one of the questions that we could probably ask is, instead of did amateur radio save the day, I'd like to try and ask, how do we know? And I don't think that's skepticism. I think it's just, an honest question. And tonight isn't really about the Venezuela earthquake. It's about something I think a little bit bigger, which is, how do we make good decisions when information isn't complete? And what does real redundancy actually look like? And why does capability matter more than simply collecting equipment? And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting about your Go box is you seem to be also interested in, I guess, systems thinking, Owen. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But I think some of the ideas that I just mentioned might sound a little unrelated at first, but I think by the end of this discussion, we'll see they're all connected by one principle, which is that capability reduces uncertainty. And so one of the things that I always enjoy about these discussions is that we all come from a lot of different backgrounds. And despite those different experiences, I think many of us reach similar conclusions over the years, which is that preparedness isn't really just about equipment. Equipment's definitely important, but radios don't make decisions. People do. And when an emergency happens, we don't suddenly become more capable because we own, another handheld or another antenna. We fall back on the planning we've done, the training we've invested in, relationships we've built, and the experience we've gained along the way before anything goes wrong. And so to jump to the first topic, which is making good decisions when the information we have is incomplete. Whenever an earthquake happens or a major event like a wildfire, hurricane, maybe even a cyber attack or civil unrest, there's almost this like expectation that we'll know exactly what's happening within a few hours. But as we saw with the latest earthquake, emergencies don't seem to work that way because the first reports are often incomplete. witnesses to see different pieces of the puzzle. Communications are disrupted, rumors are spread, and sometimes the loudest voices are simply the first people willing to speculate. And so I think one of the most valuable skills anyone in radio that is interested in either backup or emergency communications can develop is learning to separate a few categories, which is what we know, what we think we know, and what we simply don't know yet. And unfortunately, I think our modern information environment encourages us to kind of blur those three together. But starting off with kind of the first question, I guess, and this is for any of you, and of course the audience can chime in if they want, but how comfortable do you think people in a communications role, so like let's say, if you come across emergency traffic, how comfortable should you be, with saying, we don't know what the situation is yet, we don't know what the circumstances are, and do you think that's becoming lost in all the online noise about preparedness? Like, do you think it's okay to say, we don't know what all the facts are?
So you're talking about somebody who's essentially speaking out of turn. They don't have the information yet. They're making up information so that they get the ratings, or, they get the attention. We had a guy a few years ago. He posts all of the local emergency services traffic on Facebook, which is, he thinks he's being helpful, but a lot of times he's actually causing a lot more confusion. And so he started announcing evacuations that didn't exist. We have no idea where he even got that info, and it scared a lot of people, and I wish he'd have just shut his mouth. So he got lots of wonderful attention that he craves, and he confused the hell out of a bunch of people.
I think that's why so many these public safety organizations, especially the larger ones, like where Drew's at in California, they have public information officers, to be able to put out information that is genuine and based on facts, and not just speculation or rumors or fear-based or anything like that.
But he's not talking about an agency PIO. He's talking about like random YouTube influencers who just want ratings. They want clicks.
Well,
got
that
the thumbnails.
And also, you have, the Venezuela Amateur Radio Club, but like, we don't really, like I said, there's been so much circular reporting. We don't actually really know what happened after that, after they reserved that specific HF frequency. And we don't know what information that they really got, other than there was a massive power outage in the Capitol. That's really about it. And
I'll tell you what I heard when I tuned into that. I heard a bunch of field day traffic over the top of it. After everybody was told, hey, let's just be bros and not talk on that frequency.
It's their frequency.
We're doing games.
Well, if you were in that situation, and let's say like an earthquake hits your area, right? How would you personally decide when you have enough information to act instead of waiting for more information? How would you personally decide that the situation was?
I get your question. So you're talking about something like a guideline like the Colin Powell, what is it, 40-70 rule? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
Okay, so he waits till he has per his estimates, at least 40% of the information,
right,
so that he can make a good decision. But if he's sitting around and waiting for longer than 70% of the information, he feels like he's not moving, he's not acting.
Right.
And I don't know how you exactly visualize that, but it seems like a decent rule to at least think about. Like at some point, you got to get off your ass and go do something with whatever information you have, the best information you can cobble together.
I guess you have to kind of balance the speed of it, the information that's coming, against the accuracy of it during an emergency. And so I don't know. I mean, that kind of leads us into what kind of habits or disciplines have helped you become better at evaluating information instead of just simply reacting to it. Because like you said, on YouTube, there's a lot of people that they just start reporting things without really verifying anything.
So it's like the mainstream media too.
Yeah, or
Go ahead, Owen.
anything. Yeah, it could be regular media, it could be social media, YouTube, and whatever it may be. It's all the same. It's pretty rough.
Where do you get your information from, Owen?
I get notifications from local news.
You bastard.
I
Sorry.
get 3 news stations that give me information. Apple News. Yeah, that's kind of the sum of it. A little bit on social media. We have a local one here in Virginia that sends out like statewide, notifications, and some of them, and they're fairly correct, and they get them before the news gets them, which is nice.
Is there any kind of, because like you built like a Go box, and I'm looking at your channel, and you've got some discussions about, POTA activations and stuff like that, but it seems like you're someone that's kind of prepared for off-grid communications. Would you ever consider information coming over HF as legit during an emergency?
So. From what I've heard from Hurricane Helene, I mean, that's just obviously one example, but I mean, the way that they were using HF, local repeaters, non-cellular based communications, and getting it out and then relaying that information over WinLink, stuff like that. I mean, it seems to be accurate, and those people are in the zone. I mean, they're probably going to know even better than a lot of the news and stuff like that are trying to cover around. So I would 100% relay that as correct information. If somebody came to me, saying that emergency break or something like that, that they needed help, then I would relay it if needed.
How would you take it as face value that the information was correct because you're getting it from another amateur radio operator, or would you wait to try and verify it? If you were in a situation where you're like passing traffic.
Yeah, I would relay it as correct information, but say that it did come from an operator. So if it's being relayed, for goodness sakes, I mean, 911 saying, this is a radio operator, this is where they're located, and this is what I'm being told. I can't say that this is correct, but this is what I'm being told, and this is what I need to tell you from this person.
I think that's wise. Those crazies don't go away just because there's an emergency. Sometimes it really brings them out. You mentioned Hurricane Helene, and I recall hearing about some crazies who were like trying to take over supply depots and stuff. And yeah, there's no reason to stop being defensive just because there's some bad weather and some inclement times.
Well, and one of the reasons I kind of set up the beginning of the show the way that I did was that I was trying to find as much information as I could about like the Venezuela Ham Radio Club and just what transpired as far as did they pass emergency traffic, what was the involvement. And if you read enough articles on it, they all say virtually the same thing. That's why I'm saying it's kind of this like circular reporting. And then I started wondering, how much uncertainty are you really personally comfortable with, in that situation? Like if you did get drawn into some situation where you had to pass traffic, because you would be dealing with a tremendous amount because you don't really know what the situation is. You're just taking things on face value.
This shit keeps biting my spinner and then it spits it. I'm going to get him.
I don't think you have
a
choice to take it at face value at the moment. It's kind of the trust but verify concept.
Right.
Because you don't have anything else to go on. If somebody's passing information to you, you kind of have to trust it be somewhat factual or based on something that's factual until you can verify that it either is or isn't.
Well, I think it's an interesting question because so many people get their news nowadays from like X. That's like the news source for a lot of people.
But it's also kind of the fastest way that information seems to travel too.
Some of it ends up being accurate and some of it doesn't. Like you were saying, Drew, you had that guy jumping on some of the frequencies that was relaying false or misleading evacuation reports.
Straight up
And-
only for his ego. So people can go, oh, thank you. We love you. You're so smart and tuned in. And it ended up scaring the shit out of people.
Well, I mean, that is
so many
scary.
accounts on X and wherever that are just bot accounts that they get a piece of information before anybody else or as it's coming out, and they want to be the first to retransmit that out to the world.
Well, even some of the, I guess, I'm going to use the word trusted, I guess, news agencies, sometimes they don't always get it wrong or get it right. You know,
Sure.
I mean, you know, this is, I guess, kind of a question for all of you and the audience, which is, you know, how many of you have followed a breaking news story that's turned out to be significantly different a few days later?
Well, look at 9/11. Look how the news reporting changed by the minute as 9/11 was taking place.
Right.
There was so much information overload, and I don't want to say false information, maybe some misinformation or misinformed information that was being put out.
I think fragmented information.
Fragmented, yeah.
That then, you know, after later when there was clarity in that 2020 hindsight, people then became suspicious of that as though it was a lie or
and
being
were you
lied
even
to
alive
now.
during 9/11? Oh, and were you even alive during 9/11?
I was born in 2008.
Damn it,
A long
Owen.
time after. I know.
It's interesting talking to you because we've had a lot of discussions on just this live stream where a lot of the current ham radio people are kind of driving away younger people or newer people to ham radio. So it's actually really cool to see someone that is younger, that's new, that's like, hey, I like this and I want to do this. Are there any, like, have you kind of run into any, I guess, cultural issues with the ham radio crowd, or has it been just, you know, like clear sailing, I guess?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've been very, very fortunate. The group here in Louisa is great. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, they're just really, really good people. When I first got started, there was one other that was my age, and he was actually the one that got me into it. And he had his license since like 6th or 7th grade. I mean, you know, a long time. He's had it, you know, whatever. He doesn't do a crazy amount in it, but he's getting on all these nets and everything. And he taught me a bunch about it. Well, you know, I was afraid, you know, I mean, shoot, there's nobody our age, you know. And so, like you said, so I started getting into it. Everybody was so happy that we were, you know, that we were getting more involved, and that I've gotten more involved, and I'm one of the most involved members in our income group now. You know, just taking responsibility, doing stuff, organizing. I organized our last field day here in the county for everybody, you know, sending out emails, coordinating stuff like that. And they push a lot of it on me. They're like, here, you know, we're really proud that you're doing this. We encourage it. And, you know, a lot of people come back to me, call out on a local repeater or HF, or, you know, compliment me. Oh, you know, you sound younger, you know, whatever. How old are you? And, you know, oh, well, I'm so glad to hear that you have your license, stuff like that. So it's been good. I've been welcomed in, and we're up to 4 operators that are pretty actively involved now here in the county, you know, with MCOM operations and stuff like that. So.
Was that Connor? That got
Yeah,
you?
it's fine. Yeah.
Well, holy shit, I think there's some hope.
At least here. We're and the other one, so there's 3 of us that are in the same grade. And the one is friends with the one that got me into it and me. So we all 3 of us, you know, are together now, and then there's one that is separate from us. So.
One of the things.
Oh, you're still in high school?
I just graduated this year.
Oh, right on.
One of the things that I mean, I love all the new technology and stuff too. I love, you know, how the internet's made some aspects of our lives a little bit better. It's got some drawbacks, of course. And, you know, the proliferation of cell phones and all that. I mean, we all remember when we didn't have cell phones. It was like payphones or pagers. And, so a lot of things have improved over the last, 20, 30 years. But I think a lot of people start looking at amateur radio as just kind of this antiquated technology. But I think there's a lot to be said about having a way to communicate that's decentralized. Like, people can't stop you from communicating on HF. Like, and where I'm going with this is, like, in Iran right now, I was reading this article that I think it was yesterday or the day before, about 116 communications cell towers were taken down as a result of the bombing. I mean, you can still communicate if you've got an HF rig. You don't need to rely on cell phones. During the Arab Spring a few years back, people were using mesh networks to communicate. Some of it was, of course, after the fact, but Tor as well, and just trying to scramble to find ways to get around some of the throttling from the governments that would basically prevent people from communicating via the internet. But the same thing with the Hong Kong protests. People were on mesh networks and Tor and trying to figure out alternative communications methods. But I think it's great that you're interested in this. Hopefully, no one scares you away.
You mean like Jared?
Like Jared, yeah. Well, Jared's kind of a resident ham fud. He hates encryption. What else do you hate, Jared?
I hate everything.
Everything.
I hate it.
And the weird thing is, Jared's not even a boomer. He's a Gen X. So it's like, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how you absorbed all these qualities, but but moving on. So, I think there's definitely a common thread running through a lot of the things that we just talked about, that good decisions certainly depend on good information, but, good information also depends on communication systems that continue functioning when normal infrastructure begins to fail. And, I think that raises another question, which is that, most of us talk about building redundancy into our communications plan, but what does that really mean? Because I think there's, in my opinion, a big difference between owning a lot of different pieces of equipment and then building a communication system that really is resilient. And so, one of the things that I see a lot on other people's channels and just on the internet and Instagram and all kinds of places is that, you've got...
See you on the other side of this, boys.
Oh, okay. Is a train coming? All right. He's on mute. But anyway, I hear people talk a lot about, I've built redundancy into my communications plan. But, when you take kind of a closer look, I think what many people actually have is like duplication and not necessarily redundancy. For example, if I have a couple of handheld radios that use the same batteries, rely on the same repeater, and they're programmed exactly the same, have I really created redundancy? Or am I just like duplicating the same point of failure? And I think that's important to address because, disasters rarely cause one catastrophic failure at once. And I think that's where communications planning becomes less about individual radios and a lot more about designing a resilient system. And so I think I'd like to shift the conversation a little bit from equipment to systems now and talk a little bit about what redundancy actually looks like. And so I'll throw this out to you guys. So when you hear someone say that they have a redundant communications plan, what do you think they usually mean? And what do you think they should mean? What does redundancy even mean to you guys?
I think it should mean that you have a backup means in case the primary means fails for whatever reason. It should be part of your base plan.
Whether that's battery or solar or whatever it may be for powering, and then you got backup radios. Obviously, that's going back to equipment, but you got to have backup radios. I mean, things happen. Antennas, everything like that. Portable units, stationary units. I mean, all of that. So.
Yeah, I know what it means to me, but I don't know what it means to to other people, oftentimes the people talking about this, they clearly don't seem to have a grasp of what's actually necessary for communicating in an emergency. But they just emulate what the biggest name on YouTube does, and it's I can tell you, not really effective. You know, if your plan is just to get on HF, but you don't know anyone on HF, and your family doesn't have a general or extra license who can, you know, like, what's the point? What are we doing? That's not redundancy. That's just a toy. That's not really useful in that situation, you know?
Kind of what I've been saying about radio for years is everybody wants to have radios this and radio that, but they don't have anybody to talk to outside of maybe their family.
Right. So you're gaining skills, you're learning something, and it's probably a fun diversion. But if you can't recruit people to be on your team, you know, like there's sadly no point. So it's definitely not just, it doesn't just end with the equipment and the license. There's a lot of networking that has to go into that. Otherwise, you might as well just get a shortwave radio or AM radio and just listen.
So here's a good example is I recently just made contact or got in contact with another tactical group up in the Pittsburgh area where I'm from. Just within the past couple of days. The one guy has his general license, and we actually made contact. He lives right about a mile from my place up there in my Pittsburgh area. And we made contact on 20 meters today. He was running a G90 with an Inves infed half-wave antenna, and I was using my beam, obviously. But we were able to carry on a good conversation. It was clear and it was consistent. We tried to do 40 meters just prior to that, but 40 meters doesn't work during the day, typically. But that's something that with me and this other guy now, that once a week or once a month, whatever, we need to start making contact. So if I have an emergency or I need to get a hold of my dad up there and there's no other way to get a hold of him, I can at least rely on him.
That's cool.
You know, and I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
You know, and it's probably going to be a good training thing to combine their team with my tactical team here in the future. We just started talking the other day, so there's going to be some planning that goes into that. But HF is going to be part of it now that I have a good contact, a solid contact in the area up there.
Owen's like tactical planning. What did I get myself involved in here?
I'm listening. I'm taking it all in. Taking it all in.
You know you're in trouble when Jared takes you shooting, though.
Just stay away from his minivan, please.
Yeah. If it says like free radios on the side, don't go in there. It's not free radios.
Oh no! Run for your life.
You loved my minivan video, Drew. Come on now.
That was a good video. If it said free ammo on the side, I would probably seriously consider it.
I should have put that on the side of it.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'll look. But have any of you ever discovered a single point of failure in your own communication setup that surprised you? No, you guys are all just that great.
Just so good.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I've certainly had equipment fail. This Digirig trigger cable, I took it up on a soda and I brought the wrong battery bank. That was not compatible. So that was certainly a surprise. Lesson learned. Be testing this stuff before going out. We ended up getting all our contacts on VHF, but that was sure fun.
I did when I had my when I was setting up that Shigu X6100. I had it also plugged into a power bank. The power bank was compatible, but I figured out the power cord that I made was not. And because I made two of them, one worked and the other one didn't for whatever reason, and figured that out in the middle of the field. So
I can say for sure, my HF, I have 100 watts with a infed half wave. It's not a fancy antenna, and it's great for anything over 200 miles, but I can't do anything local on it. So anything here in the state, I got to be far away at the far corners of the state to even be able to hear somebody because of the way that the pattern goes off.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for DX. It's great for over 1,000 miles, but that is something I just have to think about if there's something one day where it's too far for VHF, but it's too close for HF. So.
Yeah, and when I first started out learning about all this stuff, that's kind of one of the conclusions that I came to, and I think one that a lot of people ultimately do, is that you kind of have to have these layers of communications because there's not going to be one radio to solve all your solutions, and so or solve all your problems rather. And so yeah, I mean, I think having HF is great, but you also need a decent 2 meter and 70 centimeter mobile unit, probably in like a pack frame that doesn't hurt. And just, I like even your Go box, that's a cool little Go box that you built. I could see using something like that definitely locally. Because that one's what? UHF and VHF?
Yeah, it's VHF, UHF, 50 watts on both.
Yeah. So, I mean, something like that would definitely be useful, especially if, you had some sort of natural disaster and there was a widespread power outage and communications were down perhaps, or whatever the situation might be. I could see something like that, and then maybe reaching out and contacting local repeaters, provided they had, backup power. That's one thing.
Even like I brought this up before, but we had that big snowstorm back in 2022, I think it was January, February, something like that, Owen. And power was out
when he was 4 years old. Oh wait, never mind. 2008. Sorry.
Yeah, he might not remember. He was still in a bottle.
No, I remember. Trust me.
But yeah, power was out to pretty much the entire county for different lengths of the time at different points in the county. But that would have been. I don't know if INCOM was really up and going in the county here at the time. So, but it would have been a perfect use case for it.
What is IMCOM in your county? What is that?
We have a group. We just started an association that owns the 2 repeaters. We have 2 repeaters locally here, like 12 miles from my house. VHF, UHF on the same tower. So they now own the repeaters there. We have a meeting every month for the club, the association, and at our last, they threatened a huge snowstorm again this year. Maybe February, and so we had activated then, where everybody was alerted beforehand. We saw this plan coming in. Obviously, that's more of a preparedness compared to an immediate just something happening, earthquake or something like that. But everybody agreed that we were going to have people on the radio all the time in case of something going wrong. So we had standby net, which would call out every 4 hours, started 8, 12, 4, and 8 maybe. And we would call out, we'd get, check-ins from all parts of the county. Have we heard of any power outages, anything like that? And it's just a good way to keep an update on everybody. I mean, we had, 12, 14 people checking in across the county, and that just stretches out like a spider web across. So, I mean, it's, that was the first true activation that we've needed to do, and nothing ever came of it. We were actually very lucky. We only got like 6 inches of snow and no power outages, but if something were to have happened, we all had our batteries charged up. We were all ready to go in case something, in case one end of the county got wiped out and, not wiped, but all the power went out or something, we could still be able to help.
Some sort of cascading power failure or something, right?
Who would be calling in if they were in need of assistance? Would it just be amateur radio people, or is there some sort of outreach that connects with GMRS or MeshCore? Or what's the plan there?
Yeah, we, our system, let me think here. We have people close enough in that group to, even if there is no, communications at all, no cell phone, no anything, they can physically travel to the county office building or the sheriff's office or something like that. And all of our dispatch has backup power and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's good. But going back to what Jared said, with that very big snowstorm, they actually lost dispatch for 9 hours here in our county during that time, which is crazy to even think about. I mean, they had no communications from dispatch at all during that time. And, you know, who knows what it would have been, but, you know, they can't do simplex, amateur radio can. So we would still be available. As I said before, we didn't have the MCOM group then, but it could have been a huge thing.
What, I'm confused. So your dispatch does not have, your public safety doesn't have any sort of a simplex backups? They don't have TAC channels?
As far as I know, they might have separate, it's a P25 system, so they may have separate groups because they can split off from the main like dispatch channel. But
shame on them. Sounds like they need to work on their tiered communications.
Right.
And we actually had a citizen die in that snowstorm. He got stuck in the snow and went trying to walk home. He was only a mile or so from home.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah, it was very sad. And they actually found them a couple days later in the woods, not very far from where he left.
Yeah, my grandparents lost power for 12 or 13 days, and my grandma didn't have any backup power. You know, we were luckily keeping in contact with her, but my other grandparents, they had a generator, but we were bringing in 20 gallons of gas every day and a half. Trekking it through the woods. We couldn't drive because all the trees were down on the driveway, so we're trekking gas, through the woods. It's just, it's crazy.
Goodness.
Crazy stuff.
Good for you guys, though, setting up your own infrastructure, though. I mean, that's awesome. That really is cool. I think
that dispatch tie-in's a really important aspect too that I don't hear about very often. Okay, so you get a call for help, which is already, the chances of that are pretty low because so few people even have amateur radio licenses or know how to use an amateur radio. But then how do you get that to the people who need it in order to respond to go help them?
And we've also set up through the MCOM group last fall a simulated emergency test. So we went through when we first got that second repeater put up, and went all to my end of the county, which is the southern end, and we all dispersed to all these different places, tested our emergency backups and stuff to the repeater, to simplex, and logged all this, and said, hey, if we have a earthquake or something and we need to there's no cell phone service and we need to activate and we need to go out and we need to help the community and relay information, we can go to this gas station, this school, whatever, and be able to relay information consistently, not having a breaky signal or anything on the repeater. And it was huge to say, okay, well, this place works considerably better than this, so we need to focus our resources to here, and here, so we'd be able to help more effectively, at least.
Well, I think Drew and Jared and me can just retire from communications now. I think the next generation's got it. That's awesome. We're not needed anymore. We're obsolete now.
I'm going to retire and leave all my equipment and towers to Owen.
I will give you all of my stuff, and you can just. So I don't have a son to give all my shit to, so you're gonna get it, dude. All of it.
Sounds like a plan. I'll be here.
All right. Well, it's interesting hearing you talk about infrastructure and stuff, and obviously, with that comes, redundancy and things like that. But I guess a question that I'd have for yourself and of course Drew and Jared and anyone watching in the chat, if you could add one additional layer of redundancy to your current communications plan, what would it be and why?
I think what I'm currently working on, like with Owen, is this mesh core structure. I think once it's up and running a little bit more, or we get more repeaters in the area up and running and get better coverage, I think it'll be.
I was looking at mesh core. So, I mean, I got into Meshtastic a while back, and then I stopped because I didn't really have anyone to play with. So with Meshtastic, so I kind of stopped. But I got far enough to figure it out and understand it. But what's really the difference between mesh core and Meshtastic?
The biggest thing, mesh core. And obviously, they have repeaters for Meshtastic, but Mesh Core is pretty much solely repeater based. So, like I said, it's more infrastructure based than Meshtastic would be. and we're capped out with MeshCore at 64 hops. So 64 repeaters it can go through before it stops. Now, if it ever, we don't have that many repeaters even here in the county, but for some places, they're going mountaintop to mountaintop. I know Tennessee Mesh, I'm not going to throw them out but so much, but I mean, you can be in southwestern Virginia here and you can talk to Georgia. I mean, it's, through hops on mountains and stuff like that. You just can't get the range with Meshtastic as much as you can with MeshCore, I feel like. And the software just seems to work just a little bit better. You have a better chance of getting your message through. And that's just, that's a personal opinion. I can't confirm that it's 100% like that. A lot of people have switched over to MeshCore, which is cool. I just think,
because I was wondering just what the user base with Meshtastic versus MeshCore was. I wasn't sure if I know MeshCore's fairly new, I think, right?
Yeah, it's a year and a half old, I think.
I wasn't sure if it was catching on yet. Reason I ask is because I'm trying to decide if I want to add either MeshCore or Meshtastic node to my my setup that I've got with my repeater antennas and my HF antenna, and if I want to throw one out there too.
Just to
it
put
looks
into
interesting.
Perspective for you, Terrence. I'm getting contacts with my repeater that I have here at my house for MeshCore. That's at right about 100 feet in the air. I'm getting contacts all the way from Pittsburgh down to here and all the way out into Tennessee, Georgia.
What is your terrain like, though?
Right here, it's kind of flat but rolling.
Because we're still talking line of sight. So
yeah, it needs to be line of sight except for the tropo. He's getting a bunch of tropo conditions.
Exactly.
It's incredible where just like 2 meters or whatever else it may be, it'll come hundreds of miles and just randomly just drop in messages, which is really cool.
Wow.
It seems to do it at least once a day, if not twice a day.
Because he's up above the treetop. So
you're right.
Because I'm in Reno, Nevada, so we have some challenging terrain here. We've got mountains and hills and all kinds of things, and I've got a GMRS and a 2-meter repeater set up at my house, and then of course I've got all my HF stuff. But the repeaters mainly serve my local community. So if something were to happen, you've got that, and I've got them on generators in case the power goes out. But really, beyond the hill that's like right behind my house, you're not getting coverage. You're just getting coverage in the other direction where it's line of sight. So if I were to set up like a MeshCore node, then
you would probably have pretty much all of Reno covered from where you're at, because you have a pretty good line of sight to the southwest, right?
I'm higher up, like several hundred feet than the city of Reno, but there's a lot of obstructions in my way. There's a lot of terrain, and that I don't think I'd be able to reach all the way down to the city. In the other direction, I'm literally like right on the border of California and Nevada. So in the other direction, I'd probably be able to, reach people. I can definitely reach my entire community that I live in, but
the biggest thing is, like you said, the terrain. You can check line of sight maps. I mean, literally, VHF will curve a little bit, but you're not going to get as much range out of it. I mean, you can immediately see. Oh, he's got quite a few. Then is that where he's at?
This is over here at Reno, there, Terrence.
Yeah.
So
you can check. The nice thing is you can check where all the repeaters are online on their website. They have over 50,000 repeaters uploaded right now.
What is the website
worldwide?
If I go zoom in, it even breaks down further for you.
Pile of them. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you would have a pretty good infrastructure already in place there, Terrence.
Tell you what, though, digital over VHF is sweet. Line of sight optional.
Oh, I'm looking at the map right now. All right, that's cool. I'm going to drop this in the chat for anyone that wants to see it. That is pretty cool. Maybe I will do a MeshCore, because I was also looking at the, I know you can buy that like T-Deck. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It looks like a BlackBerry. It's got an antenna, and you can basically...
That's Meshtastic, right?
No, you can buy one for MeshCore too.
Okay.
I thought MeshCore was rebranded. Didn't they change the name because that one psychopath tried to steal the brand?
It's still the same right now.
I thought, didn't they change it though? I thought, or they're going to change it. What's the story with there?
I haven't kept up with it. I'm glad I haven't, but I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Sounds like a whole lot of drama.
Yep.
Yeah. Also,
So-
maybe just shitty behavior.
So if you guys lost cell service, let's say because of a natural disaster or some sort of weather event or whatever, what would you guys go to first? Would you go to MeshCore or would you jump on a repeater? Or what's your
I would
plan
do
in your
it.
area?
I would 100% be a repeater right now. Our network, Jared's right in the middle of it. He's very fortunate. He can talk to the only two towns in our county, which is great. We don't have a whole lot of users at the moment because it just started. I mean, we just put the first repeater up 3 or 4 months ago. So we have a small group of users, but I would 100% jump on a local repeater, a faraway repeater. I have 40 some repeaters that I can get on here from the house. I'm going to find somebody. So.
Right.
You're talking about radio repeaters, right?
Yeah, that would be VHF repeaters.
Right.
One of the things that, and I'm sure Drew and Jared and probably Owen, you guys get this, but especially with people who are not familiar with all of these technologies, one of the things that I constantly get asked is what kind of radio should I get? And
Bootleg.
there's nothing wrong with the Baofeng, but
That way we
you
can
know,
pick on you for having one, Drew, and berate you and tell you how dumb your radio
there you
is.
go. Damn it, Owen! Look what you've done. But another question is, like what antenna should I get, or what should I upgrade to next? And those aren't bad questions or anything, obviously, but I think the better question is really about capability. What capability are you trying to build? And going back to Venezuela for a minute, one of the things that stands out to me is isn't the equipment that they were using, primarily HF, it looks like, but it's that everything already kind of existed before the earthquake happened. So I'm talking about they had trained operators, emergency frequencies, sounds like they had some leadership, there were established procedures, they had relationships with neighboring countries. None of that was built during or after the earthquake. It already existed, and to me that's what capability is. And it sounds like you guys like Owen and Jared are definitely establishing that in your local community, which is cool. And I think an important reminder is that emergencies don't create capabilities, they reveal it. And it seems like, even though there was very limited reporting for the Venezuela earthquake, seems like they already had a lot of that stuff kind of in place, ready to go in case they needed to relay emergency traffic. But I mean, in your context, when you guys think about capability, what's one of the first things that comes to mind? Is it equipment or is it something else? Is it the relationships that you build offline?
Leadership skills.
I was gonna say just skill sets in general, because you can have all the equipment in the world and the fanciest equipment in the world, and if you don't have an inkling on how to use it, it doesn't do you any good.
I think that's one of the hard things, knowing that and trying to talk to people that are thinking about getting into like radio, because if you say that to them, it's kind of overwhelming. I think they just kind of tune out if you start talking about like SOP and theory.
A lot of people say, well, I don't want to talk to people on the radio or talk to anonymous men and strangers on the radio,
like on DMR.
Yeah, exactly. Like
lonely hams that are waiting.
A lot of people sound real smart.
But there's some value into doing it, because if you don't do it and you don't use the radio and don't hone your skill set into doing that, when it really counts, it's not going to matter, because you're not going to know how to do it.
So if someone came to you guys and they only owned like one radio, like the one that Owen held up, the UV5R, and they own one radio, where would you tell them to invest their time instead of their money?
Like somebody local.
Oh yeah,
Did you catch something? Oh, I think you got something, didn't you?
Maybe. Yeah, I got something. Here we go. He's coming in now.
Good.
It'd be like
I think it's a
little
bass.
sunfish.
Oh, it's tiny. Oh, it's a crappie. That's actually a fatty crappie. Or is it a bluegill?
Well,
Hang on.
Hold it up higher.
I'm working on it.
Damn it, Drew.
Finally.
We wanna see it.
Now everybody can tune out. I think
the-
it's a crappie. It doesn't have that dot in the gill plate, and it's a decent sized crappie.
Give the people what they want.
Working on it. I'm trying to get the hook out. I'm not trying to torture the poor thing.
I can't
Yeah,
breathe.
he swallowed it deep. I'm gonna have to get pliers. All right, talk amongst yourselves. I want to
Drew,
answer.
can't breathe. I can't breathe. Drew, I can't
Yeah.
breathe.
All right,
Put me
thank
back
you.
in the water.
All right, George. I'm working on it.
Have you named the fish?
You want to name it for me? Let's
Well,
put
now
it out to the chat.
If you name it, you can't eat it. That's how these things work.
You know what? I did get we dug a little pond at home, and I got a fish transplant permit. You can get that for like $25 from the state here.
Did not know that existed.
Yeah, and so we transplant because there's a shit ton of mosquitoes in that pond, and in that area, and so yeah, we got like 10 little bluegill and pumpkin seed out of this lake, transplanted them legally. Did it right. Ah, there we go. All right. Yeah,
Nice. Well done, sir.
it's a little bloody here. I think
Are
we're
you-
gonna eat this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna eat him. Not on camera. We'd probably get pushed off of YouTube, but
All the animal rights people are going to come after you now.
I don't know. I killed
Wow.
a rabbit and ate it on camera, Drew. I think you could do that.
did you really?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Did anyone get pissed off at you for it, or?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I was surprised.
I
It's
think
on,
so.
it's on my video list.
That's all right. Just kind of pushing the limits on YouTube. All right, that's good.
Yeah, how have you not been banned?
Right, that's what
I haven't made a
wondering.
lot of content lately. Like any,
Probably good.
I can make another Barbie girl video for you,
It's
Drew.
all political and guns and But back to the question. So if someone really just owned one piece of equipment and they were kind of fairly new, where would you tell them to invest their time instead of their money?
What's the goal? Is the goal to communicate in emergencies?
I suppose so.
Or what are we
to
doing?
build emergencies and building capability for emergencies, kind of like we were talking
Yeah,
about.
I would start reading some leadership books. Read. Oh goodness, Turn the Ship Around by Captain David Marquet. I did not bring my stringer. That was the dumbest freaking thing. I thought I had it. Did it fall out? Oh, I'm pissed. Captain David Marquet, Turn the Ship Around, fantastic leadership book, very digestible. And even if you're not a leader, you will be a better team member. And additionally, Human and Organization Potential by Ivan Papoletti. And I got another train coming in, so I'll be listening on the side.
You know,
I'm impressed you were able to rattle all those off. Well done. That was
to
impressive.
kind of lead in with what Drew was saying, I think there has to be a lot of leading questions when somebody comes to you and say, "Hey, I want to buy a radio. What should I get?" There's so many different factors and whatnot, and you have to ask so many leading questions into what their intent is.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that.
You know, if I want to talk to my buddy in Kazakhstan or whatever, you know, my Baofeng's not going to do it. You know, I could do it on a Baofeng DM32 and go through a hotspot and do DMR and find a talk group, yes. But now you have to have an internet connection on both sides.
Are you still using DMR, Jared?
I have it. I don't talk on the radio that much though.
Do you have it, Owen? DMR? And do you
I
like
have
talk?
D-Star. That's the only digital I have.
Right.
I just got a new, still in the box right here, because I was having issues with the Simplex one I have. It's not even open yet, but maybe this one's open. This one open? Yeah. So I just got my new DMR hotspot, But this is
That's
a duplex one, because if you don't get a duplex one, you can't disconnect from one talk group to move on to the next if one is already transmitting to your radio.
I can program all the DMR stuff, but I got super lazy, and this is not an endorsement, but Bridgecom has this like really ridiculously expensive like DMR plug and play package for the money.
Like
yeah, for the money, it was worth it to me because I'm just someone that's got so many projects going on. I don't need another one, and so I, kind of have to be careful of how I spend my time. But it was totally worth it because they pretty much programmed everything for me, and I still use it. I think it's cool. Like you and I have talked a few times, and we're able to communicate through the Brandmeister network, which was kind of cool. But
like that one morning last year, you were trying to get on one morning early in the morning.
Yeah.
And I said, hello, Terrence. And you didn't even say anything. I just saw you pop up on it.
And
it kind of threw you, I think.
I think it threw me off because I'm like, what? Who is this? But I forgot that you guys can see me. I was probably in the middle of trying to do something. Sometimes I'll walk away from it, and yeah. But no, DMR is cool. It's just I don't know.
It's a tool.
Yeah, it is. It's just another tool in the toolbox, really.
I think it has value. I have it set up here at the shop, here in my radio room, and I also have it set up to where I can connect to the hotspot on my tablet in my truck, so I can use my mobile radio or handheld while I'm away from home.
So my next question that I have here on my list is kind of a two-part. I think Drew and Jared can kind of answer the first one, and then Owen can answer the second part. But what communication skills do you think we should be passing on to the next generation of amateur radio operators? And then the second part is, what things would you like to see people pass on to you and people in your generation, Owen? We'll let the old guys go first. Age before beauty.
Repeat my part of the question, Terrence, so I can get an understanding.
What communication skills do you think we should be passing on to the next generation of operators? And while you do that, I'm going to check JSA call.
Active listening. I'm just kidding. Because you're leaving to go check. Never mind. It was a funny joke for me.
I think a lot of people, that are, I don't want to put it in a tier system, but I think the lower tiered people come into it thinking they know more than they do, and they don't pay attention to what we're actually really trying to say. And I'm not the greatest teacher in the world either when it comes to that. So having good communication skills and good teaching skills on our part is, I think, pretty vital, so you can make sure you pass along the information in correct ways.
What do you think, Drew?
What communication skills? When we're talking about communication, that's so much more complex than just how to talk on a radio or how to use a certain piece of software. And I keep going back to, in the context of this conversation, the leadership aspect, because leadership is, a vast majority of it is communication, because you're dealing with complicated humans. And so that is really worth some intentional, focused study. And yeah, I think there's so many folks have this just fantasy in their mind that they're gonna leap into action in an emergency, and they're just gonna nail it, and they don't realize that you will fall back to your training, you will fall back to your skills that you've built before the emergency. You're never going to be as good in an event than as you will in your training. And
you
so
fall
if
back to your lowest level of training,
right, sure, 100%. So it would be to develop those human networking and communication skills and leadership skills now, even if you're not in a position of leadership. I guarantee you at some point you're going to be thrown into a position of leadership, even if it's leadership of your family. That's probably the most important team in your life. So that's where I would go, and then we would start that's our goal, and we would start developing strategies pursuant to that goal, whether it involves a radio, what type, or a cell phone, or a satellite communicator. That's all secondary. The communications support your mission, and that's something I struggle with these like a lot of these emergency response groups like ARES. That they seem to forget that the communication is to support the mission. The communication is not the mission. So that's where I would start. And I know that's not sexy. That's not fun. We want to talk about the latest Bofang doodad. And I just don't think that's where it's at.
MCOM's not real. Prepare to self-rescue.
100%.
Owen, what would you like to see people pass on or share to you?
I've learned a lot. I've been shooting. When I first got started, it's not even 2 years ago at this point. A year and a half. I don't even know. I don't remember. A year and a half, probably. When I first got started, I didn't know anything about anything on the radio. I mean, my buddy taught me, you ID at the beginning, you ID at the end, and every 10 minutes, and here's your call sign, go at it, and I started, I had to look at that on a piece of paper going down the road and, save my call sign and my mobile. And I'm sitting there like, what am I going to do with my little bow thing and a mag mount? And I've gone to the point where now I run our local emergency net every week. And they've passed on so much. And even if it's just something as simple as, there's a lot of places that people, I'll call for check-ins now. Any general check-ins for the blank net, please call. And we've started doing this is, let it drop, and then say your call sign, because people double so much. I mean, we'll have 10, 15, 20 check-ins to these nets. And that's just something that, just people just pick up, it gets transferred over. They used to not do it. I don't know who started it around here, but it's just traveled around the nets. And something as simple as that, I mean, that's just, that is just communications on radio. I mean, that's just something people need to know. If there's an emergency net and we're doing a standby net and you're going to go and, everybody, all right, any check-ins, everybody calls at once, you're going to take up additional time, stuff like that. So it's a big thing. And just talking on the radio, going back to what you said, who are you going to talk to? Some people just sit on the side, won't talk to strangers. I would never talk to anybody if I hadn't called out when I first got started and said, anybody, anywhere, and just calling out from the mobile, and people would come back. And there's some of these people I've been talking to for the full year and a half now. I mean, I talked to them a few days in, and I was just a little stumbly, I don't know what to talk about, to now, talk about anything.
Now he doesn't shut up on the radio.
Say it again. Say it again, Jerry.
I said, now you don't shut up on the radio.
Exactly.
Right on.
Which is great. It's awesome.
I think I think what you're saying, what you're saying is absolutely true. I mean, there's a lot of tribal knowledge in radio that doesn't necessarily get shared, I think, and there's the whole gatekeeping aspect of radio. And
I don't know that we have a lot of examples of gatekeeping around here. Do you think that there's any gatekeeping here,
That's
Owen?
good.
I don't think there is.
I haven't seen a whole lot.
I think it probably gets blown up quite a bit online.
Yeah, I could see gatekeeping online, but in the real over-the-air radio world, I don't think there is. Maybe a little bit on DMR, on Talk Group 93 or 91 or whatever that is. But
Yeah, I think it's 91.
yeah,
Maybe it is 93.
maybe 93, I think.
Yeah.
But there might be a little bit there, but in general, I don't see it except for online, because everybody's a bully online.
Yeah, right. Online's where it's the worst for sure. You get on Reddit, might as well get right off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because Reddit's unfortunately it is. It's a bad one. It's just an online ghetto. I don't like it. I've
in the Facebook community and the Instagram community. I don't know if Instagram's quite as bad,
I don't think Instagram is. Instagram seems all right. I think Reddit's probably one of the worst. Facebook probably could be. And so I think it depends on what Facebook page or group you're on. I mean, everything's kind of relative, but in particular, Reddit always stood out to me as being one of the worst, just because when I was just starting out, I was looking through those forums too, because I thought maybe I could learn something. And in some cases, I guess I did. But one of the things I learned is what Drew said is you get on there and you might as well just get off.
Yeah. You know, even on Facebook, I'm part of different forums, different groups, like for.
Oh yeah, fish on. Sorry, keep going.
For different trucks that I have, and you know, and it's the same thing in that world too. You know, there's always that one asshole that.
No.
Did you lose him?
Yes.
That wants to make fun of you for not knowing something, and you just don't know what you don't know. You know, and that's what these groups are supposed to be for, is so you can learn and get the information that you don't know.
Well, and it's kind of goes back to what Owen was sort of alluding to, which is, you know, learning. You don't know what you don't know when you start out, right? And so if you're someone that's been around radio, like, I think it's kind of important for you to share everything that you can, you know, reasonably, to help out anyone that's starting out. And I don't think that happens often. I think it usually devolves into this like gear discussion, and then, you know, gear shaming at some point. You know, like that was my experience when I started out. Like, tried to learn, you know, as much as I could and be a sponge and absorb as much information as I could. And then it just always ended up being these like gear discussions. And I'm like, well, who gives a shit? Like, right. Like there's clearly many deeper levels beyond just what radio I have. You know, if you, like, for instance, you know, we started out talking about Venezuela, you know, and I think if you start examining natural disasters and their aftermath, because I think those things are important, because when you start talking about these situations, you end up analyzing something much bigger, which is how we think, plan, and how we prepare before we're ever tested. And one of the realities of any emergency is that you almost never have the complete picture. You know, like we were saying when we started out in this conversation about just operating with incomplete information, with conflicting reports and rumors spreading, communications becoming disrupted, and yet you still have to make some sort of decision in all of that chaos. And those aren't things that people talk to you about usually. They usually just talk to you about how shitty your Bofeng radio is.
And that they're not going to help you with it because they think it's shitty.
You shouldn't own it, and why should I help you program it?
Right.
But that's what I mean by there's all these like deeper layers to things, like what Drew is saying about learning like leadership and those things. All of that's important. Every bit of it. Like you can learn how to program a radio, and you can learn the ins and outs of whatever gear you've got. But, you know, if you don't have the other soft skills to go with it, you're going to have a hard time, I think, when you're actually tested. And I think understanding. Go ahead.
We got any comments yet on the live or on JS8?
I don't see any on JS8. I've been watching the comment section. There's a few people. Let's see. We've got C103 says good evening, working while canning. Hello, sir. Glad you were able to jump on. And
always a pleasure.
Ground Fog joined earlier.
Oh, yes. We got him back. All right. Ground Fog, you're about to see the biggest fish of your life. Get in here. You get in here.
It's going to be a dead body.
I think it's another crappie. No, it's another crappie. Ooh, yeah. Nope. You're off the hook. Yes. That's a good one. That's a fryer. Not the biggest, not the smallest. We're happy.
You going to eat it?
Yeah, he's going in the pan.
So you got two now.
Yeah, I got two good fryers here. Fryer crappies. So what I'm using, sorry, before we get back to Ground Fog's comment here, I'm using a 16th ounce bright red rooster tail. Fish in this lake really seem to like red, the neon bright red color. But I had to throw on something a little larger because the pond or the lake level has come up so much that there's so much shallows here close in to shore.
Can you share the name of the lake you're at, Drew? Or you got to
Kokalala. Yeah, no, I'm Lake Kokalala here in the Idaho Panhandle. And if anybody wants to SWAT me, it's going to be really good exercise for the deputies to get on out here. Maybe I should have brought a second rod for them. Anyway,
Jared's going to get right on it.
All right, Ground Fog was saying something, and I'm sorry. There was a little bit of excitement there.
He waved hi earlier on when we started this thing, and
right on.
I've been really bad at jumping into the comment section, but there actually aren't really a whole lot of comments, so that's okay. And no comments on JS8 call either that I've come across. So,
and I can't get even hooked up to a damn WinLink gateway here either. So, all is well there.
So, what are you relying on? So, there's a WinLink repeater nearby.
Well, there's these gateways, and none of them are really nearby, and that's fine because I'm trying to do this on HF here. The RDOP modem is just really difficult, and there's not a great selection of RDOP gateways like there's VARA. I'm super spoiled with VARA HF. It just works amazingly well, especially with QRP. But QRP on its own has its challenges, and then RDOP is even more challenging on top of that, even with full power. So usually it's like after the sun sets I can get into some, but I'm only about a week into using this app. And I'm pretty stoked to be alive during this time where I've got all these options that are just on my cell phone for connecting to various radios.
Hopefully they'll continue development on the Android JS8 call app. That one's cool. Last time I checked, they were still on like that version 1
RC1. Yeah, it's got some issues, but I'm very grateful for all they're doing. Last I heard, the primary developer of it is just super swamped with work. I was talking to someone who knows him. But yeah, that'll be sweet. I guess it's good for receiving, but there needs some more functionality before it's going to be really useful. You asked earlier though what piece of equipment, comms equipment, I would buy if I could, and I think it would not even be amateur radio. It would be or even mesh core. It would be T Satellite. Have you seen that?
What is it?
T-Mobile has partnered with Starlink, and for $10 a month, you don't even have to be a T-Mobile customer. You can get a second eSIM on your phone to access satellites. Not just even for emergencies, but they've got a handful of apps that'll text with it, like WhatsApp and stuff. They've got I believe a port that'll work with that. $10 a month, so it's the same price as a Starlink Mini. Honestly, if I'd have known about that, I might not have even bought the Mini. But
so it says T Satellite connects you where towers can't, obviously because it's satellite, I guess.
Right.
Let's see.
Satellite really is becoming a 99% option. It's not perfect, nothing is, but gosh, I can't deny that it's pretty amazing at this moment in history, and numerous public safety entities are looking at getting integrated with satellite.
So it works automatically on the majority of phones from the last 4 years.
I think you need something that takes an eSIM, so you can put that on a secondary eSIM on your phone.
Yeah, you're right. Like I think satellite really is becoming almost a primary option at this point when it wasn't before. Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, like I heard they were, T-Mobile had that. I just hadn't really looked at it in the last year or two. I don't know, so I did all this shit talking on that last live we did over on my channel about how I don't need Starlink. And
you didn't shit talk. No, you didn't. You were just saying it wasn't right for you at that moment, and that's perfectly reasonable. Nobody should browbeat a person into getting something that they don't want and that doesn't work for them.
For my field HF stuff, for like my field kit that I run JS8 call on and all that stuff, like I don't think I need it for that. But we got an RV, and I think I need it for my RV for sure.
You also have family members who aren't licensed, right?
Yep.
I have kids who are not licensed
I
in
do.
amateur radio, and so
But your
we're talking
situation
about just
changed, Jared.
What's that, Jared?
I said your situation changed. You got the RV, and then
It did.
now, so it's a growing entity in itself.
I'm too old to camp. I have to glamp at this point. It's
was
all
it
glamping.
Spies Like Us where they had that tactical RV? Are you going to retrofit it like that?
Oh no, it was Stripes.
Stripes.
Bill Murray
Okay.
and John Candy.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
What
like
are
the
those?
dream RV right there. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy who had the same GMC. I think it's a GMC RV. It looked damn near like it. He liked the movie as well and bought that RV. Not all decked out like in the movie, but it was cool. But
Nice.
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, my situation did change where I was like, well, I probably should get this, and I can run all my radio gear from the RV as well. So hopefully, the next live that we do, it'll be from the RV, and it'll be from a campsite somewhere, and it'll be from Starlink's, that mini dish that I got. But they changed their
The F-50 assault vehicle RV.
well, they changed the I guess the billing structure. So like it's $55 a month for 100 gigs of data, which is kind of interesting. Before I think it was like 50 for 50 or something. And then I guess you can still downgrade to the standby mode, which I don't know. Now that I have the mini dish, maybe I will take it out into the field. I don't know. I haven't really thought about incorporating that into my pack or anything. I tried to travel light because I'm old.
That's heavy.
It is.
I'd rather carry water than that.
I would too.
Friggin' satellite dish.
Yeah, I can't really justify dragging all that stuff around. But
It's okay for vehicle mounted and vehicle borne.
yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Heck
I
yeah.
found there's all these like different mounting solutions, and I found one that I can put it inside of and put it on the roof and protect it from hail.
Yeah, being on the East Coast here, there's so much cell coverage out here that I don't know that it would be a good choice for me to have one here. I mean, there's areas obviously that don't have coverage, but if I lived out like you guys do, I would probably most definitely have one.
Well, like when I went to Dixie Valley, I probably could have used it out there just in case something were to happen. Because there's no cell phone coverage. There's a repeater that is like 2 peaks over and like you couldn't hit it line of sight. I think my only chance would be like HF. So
You need to go to Fairview Peak still.
I'm going to do that next. Maybe I will do that. Well, I'm not really making a lot of long form videos anymore. So maybe I'll still go out there and check it out. But
You're good at it. You're good at those long forms. Podcasts are
Yeah.
good.
well, the long form videos aren't great, but maybe the
Why do you say that? What would you do better? What would make it more fulfilling for you?
I like doing the podcast episodes, but honestly, and this sounds totally selfish, not enough people watch the long form stuff for
Me and
Drew
do.
like, for me to be like, I'm going to keep making these.
I get
I
it.
have
what
an
it
hour.
is.
I have an hour and a half drive to and from every morning and the evening. I need something to listen to, so you have to keep making videos.
Well, maybe I'll keep making the podcast episodes, but and there, like, I was also doing way too much stuff. Like, I had too much content stuff going on. So,
Plus,
it
you
is
were in the
what it
middle of a
is.
move too.
That too, yeah, and I am trying to write or finish editing the next book and just shit like that. Like that, to me, that's more important than making a video, because at least the book stuff in the books is like something I can pass on to people rather
We
than.
pass this on too. It's here forever until you
That's
get banned.
true. Until YouTube throws me off of here and then throws you guys off of here because they don't like me.
Right.
I think you'll get banned first, Jared. That's my bet.
Probably.
And then probably me. They won't ban Drew. They like Drew. They'll be like,
Do
Drew's
they?
okay. Probably not. I'm just trying to make you feel good.
I
And
keep
then-
the inside thoughts in, so I think I'm doing all right so far.
And then Owen will get banned by guilt by association. But
Yeah, you're screwed.
I don't
So-
make any firearm content anymore, so not that I had a lot to begin with, but
It's a shame
kinda
that
made
they're really
this-
hard on that stuff.
Yeah, I've kind of made the decision I'm not going to do any kind of shooting videos. I might show a little bit here and there. You know, I'll if my tactical team ever gets back into getting together and doing FTXs again, you know, I'll make videos of that. I
was periodically posting things here and there, not in videos necessarily, but just some of the shooting stuff that I do. But then I decided not to because I don't know. It's not really my arena, 1 and 2. It's just kind of something that I do and not necessarily the focus of my channel. And I also don't want to incur their wrath, I guess. I don't know.
I don't even know what the rules are on that.
I don't know that anyone does.
Nobody knows. They make it up as they go.
Do you go shooting, Owen?
I do, yeah. I hunt a lot, fish a lot, shoot a lot. It's fun.
Yeah, just don't do it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll be like, remember that video you made 8 years ago? Well, guess what? You've got a strike now.
Yeah.
So,
You have a lifetime ban.
yeah. They've done that to a few people. You know, they'll go back retroactively and be like, hey, you know, we don't like that you made this video. You're getting a strike. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much gun content out there. I don't need to make gun content. Nobody needs to listen to me do that or watch me do that.
It is saturated. I mean, you could say the same thing about radio too. I mean, there's a little bit of saturation there, but maybe not as bad as a lot of the gun tuber stuff. Like I can't imagine like someone being, you know, in 2026, like I'm going to be a gun tuber because everything's kind of been done at this point, I would think.
They're not really making new ones.
Right?
Not too much, at least.
I mean, at this point, like, I don't know. I don't know what else there is to cover for a gun tuber, but there's a couple interesting ones. Like there's a guy that talks about like curio relics and stuff and talks about, you know, just different periods of firearms and stuff, which is kind of interesting. Ian McCullough or something like that, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Let me
Never heard of him.
My brother really likes him. Let me see if I can find it.
I saw your brother pop up on my subscribers list. That was super nice of him.
Did you? Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
I think I did. Verify.
Or Ian McCollum? Ah, shit. What the fuck's this guy's name? Hold on. So, Owen, have you looked into Starlink?
Not a whole lot. I don't do anything. I have the Hammobile is what I call it. That's what I do all my POTA and everything from, and I use an online cloud-based logger. But it works offline also. So I'm sitting here like, you know, we do a little bit of camping, but it's glamping. It's, you know, we have a pop-up camper, so it's
Hell yeah.
kind of like,
That's the way to go.
yeah.
That's the way to go. Because when you get older, like laying on the ground sucks, man. You wanna something to lay on.
Yeah, I don't even want to do it at 18. So, but yeah, like I said, I mean, I just like Jared said. I mean, the cell phone coverage is great here in our county. There's barely anywhere you can go where you're not going to get cell phone coverage, and I mean, I live so close to one here. It's literally across the road from me. We have Wi-Fi here, of course, but the standby one would be cool. I would mount it on top of the SUV with all the rest of that would be the.
Yeah, Drew described the standby mode as like dial-up, which is way before your time.
Yeah, it's 10 times faster than dial-up.
We used to have this thing called AOL, and I'm being facetious, but it was.
I know about that too.
It's like I've heard about that, or Owen's like I've heard about that.
What's crazy is back then everyone thought the internet was going to be kind of a fad, and like, you know, AOL was cool though. I liked it. So I found this guy's website really quick. It's called Forgotten Weapons.
Oh yeah.
And my brother loves this channel. And this guy's he's got 3 million subscribers. Good for him. But yeah, no, like I've seen a bunch of his episodes. He's got some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's a good channel.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But
and there's a channel called Prep Comms. I believe the host name is Caleb Nelson. I can't remember his call sign. Doesn't matter. but he did an interview with a fellow who responded to into Hurricane Katrina, and he talked about the way they operated with a combination of radio and he specifically remarked that satellite was a force multiplier. Obviously, satellite communications and sat phones were not as ubiquitous back then, and quite a bit more cumbersome and expensive. But it really seems like that's just a surefire winning combination there of having that satellite for long range stuff, and then your radio, your VHF, UHF for tactical. And I think even Hurricane Helene, most of the lessons that came out of that, the after actions that people were cared to post were really just success stories of VHF, UHF. I haven't heard a ton about HF, and that kind of makes sense. If you've got access to satellite now, affordable satellite, it's not really a compelling reason to spend the time and effort to troubleshoot all the HF stuff.
The crazy thing is too, a lot of new iPhones, I don't know if it's I know it's an iPhone thing, but I don't know if it's Verizon or what. But like my dad can be in the middle of nowhere. Like we took a trip out west recently. I had 0 cell service, and it would come up with his up at the top right. It's on satellite. Well, he could send iMessages, 0 cell service, out to people. It's limited to 150 characters or whatever, or make emergency calls through it without paying any extra. We're not paying for that every month. I mean, obviously we are some way, but it's it's turning your cell phone into a satellite phone just like that, where you can call 911, you can call emergency contacts through satellite without any cell phone service, which is just revolutionary. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy how it's just available. Like satellite phones used to be a kind of a unique thing to have, and now they're
everywhere.
Especially. Yeah.
Every phone is satellite phone, pretty much.
Be real curious to see if Amazon gives Starlink a run for their money. Maybe helps drive down the cost of some of these things, increase functionality. I think competition's going to be good in that space.
Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half, and we promised Owen that we would not lure him into a 3-hour long live stream. So
we still have an hour to go then.
Yeah, we're still good. Have you ever seen the movie Titanic? That's 3 hours long, and that's how long this live stream is going to be. But no, I'm just messing with you.
And then we're going to crash and burn in the end just the same.
How much fishing time do you have left, Drew?
I can fish all night. Oh, wait, I can't. That's illegal. I can keep going.
All right.
What else we got on the list? We talked about everything?
That was pretty much it, man. That we actually covered everything in an hour and a half. We've gotten very efficient at this.
Sweet. I actually have some dinner.
Not allowed to fish at night, Drew?
I realized that was stupid to say on a live recording. I'll fish until legal sunset.
Well, I guess we could probably wrap it up then. I guess Jared and Drew, do you guys have anything that you would like to wrap up with? And then we'll jump over to Owen and share his channel once again.
Yeah, I'd like to say I think everybody should check out DL2MAN's RDOP app. He's got a great video on it showing you how to get logged in. I posted some lessons learned myself. He's seems really hungry for feedback and real world use cases. He's also got some transceivers that he has not yet tested with that. I think Terrence, your Shigu. How are we going to say the X radio word?
Shigu? I think it's pronounced Shigu, or
I caught a backpack.
I've also mispronounced it Zygu. So
whatever it is, the 6100. I think that's the one you have.
It is.
Yeah, nobody's tested that one yet. I don't think he has it listed as ungetestet because a lot of it was in German at one point. Anyway, so yeah, I think he's really, really hungry for that feedback on how some of these additional transceivers work, lessons learned from real life use, and he's actively making updates as people give.
Because we had, before we jumped on the live, you were talking about it wasn't kind of catching on, as quickly as you thought it, probably should, because it's useful. Just briefly, what is it and why do I want it? And like I'm 5 years old.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with the foundation that you're familiar with email, and that anybody, regardless of licensure level, can receive email. And then also, vast majority of the people who are in our lives are not amateur radio licensed. So the idea that I'm going to grab an amateur radio and be as useful as I can possibly be talking to those folks is just not realistic. However, WinLink, you dial into various gateways. Just wreck somebody's rod holder. You dial into these gateways that really generous volunteers have spidered all throughout the world. And so you access by amateur radio, and you then can send emails not only to other radio users, but to these unlicensed folks as well. So often will happen that where I work, the fiber optic line will get cut in between my home and work. And so perhaps my home will have connectivity, but I won't. And so that's one of the reasons that really prompted us to, my wife and I, to dive into creating a backup communication system. But in that circumstance, I could rig up my HF antenna and send an email to her, and it would go, bounce off of Oregon or California or whatever. And then we'd have communication that way, two-way communication. So you can send and receive emails. You could even use it, a lot of WinLink clients for direct communication, but it's not really where it shines. It's the ability to send real emails to real people who don't necessarily have amateur radio licenses. And if you have connectivity with email, you can also use it to pull websites through the SailDoc system. And so in that way, you still have access to a lot of good information. So for example, last year when I was on the fires, I was able to, my wife emailed me through WinLink, and she gave me the link to the update site for the fire that was near our home. And so even though I was in a place that had no cell service whatsoever, I was still able to dial in and grab a real simple text-based photo of that, not photo, but a snapshot of the content of that page in text format. And I was able to just kind of keep up to date, and that was a really great comfort for me. But yeah, we were able to, last couple of years of fires, we were able to stay connected that way. Before I got a Starlink Mini, and so it's an extremely useful tool, and it doesn't, even just WinLink in general, doesn't seem to get the attention that I think is due for the people who profess to be really interested in this this mysterious EmComm thing. But let's say you want to communicate with some family members outside of the area. That's certainly happened. The Tillamook floods come to mind, where amateur radio operators were calling into the valley to let people's family members know that they were okay. You could just do that yourself. You could just send emails to family that are outside of the affected region.
He created an app that works on like an Android device.
Yes, and that's never been done before for WinLink. There are no other WinLink clients. And so the modem it uses is RDOP. Unfortunately, that's not the very most effective modem, but it still does have a lot of good utility. So I think it's worth exploring more. It takes a little bit of practice to get good with it.
What is it
and
called?
I'm still practicing RDOP.
Or what is the app called?
All right, so if you go to dl2man.de/RDOP, RDOP is all in caps, ARDOP, you'll get to a site where you can use that, and it works all through a browser page. And so you can download it, so that's offline use right now. I don't have any internet on my phone behind me, and so it's just downloaded off for offline use. And so I'm
going to pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so this is the developer of the TrueSDX, or one of them. The other one was PE, I can't remember. Guido is his name, but it says on the front of the TrueSDX. But anyway, is that the main TrueSDX page, or is that RDOP? I can't see it from here.
This is the...
You're on the RDOP page?
dl2man.de that you told me.
Yeah, /RDOP. Go to /RDOP, or maybe there's a link up top that says RDOP. And I think he just wants feedback.
Oh, here we
How's
go.
this working?
RDOP WinLink operators.
Is there any way it can be improved? And I've submitted a couple suggestions, and he like immediately made those changes, made those
I would
updates.
run this app on my phone, obviously, and then I would connect it to like my 6100, perhaps. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and you use a USB cable. You don't need a sound card interface with that radio, I don't believe.
I don't. Yeah.
I think it's got an internal sound card. So
Yeah.
I think you should give it a shot. You'll need to register a WinLink account with either on their website or with a different WinLink app,
Right.
like
Right.
the Windows one or something.
Yeah, so like the 6100 is it's a good radio. It's better than its predecessor, in my opinion. It's a lot easier to use with digital modes. It is a little bit temperamental, but
Yeah.
once you get it going and usable, like with JS8, for instance,
Sweet.
it's pretty solid, I think. But it'll probably require a lot of tinkering, is my guess. So
Maybe.
I'll give it a shot and check it out. I'll download the. Can you get the app from just his website, or is it on like Google?
Check if
Play
you
or something?
if you watch through the video that I just posted. I know it's a 20-minute video, and that's the turnoff for some people, but you don't get it on the Play Store. You use it through your browser, and then there are some specific instructions on his FAQ, and also I included some lessons learned on my end for how to download this for offline use. But it runs through a browser app. It's a little non-standard.
So YouTube. So I tried to copy and paste the link into the chat, and YouTube rejected it.
That's hilarious.
It says YouTube rejected your comment. This is fairly
9
common when sharing a link. Yeah, 9. No link for you.
So if I have a radio that does not have a sound card, I'd have to get like an FL Digi or something, Drew.
No, he does not have support for intermediate sound card interfaces with that specific app. There's other apps you can certainly use with the True SDX or any of those other listed receivers that would be compatible with a sound card interface. But nope, if you've got an IC 7300 or 705 or True SDX or one of those Zygoos, not the G90, sorry, not the G90, but the ones with internal sound cards. He said that's a requirement.
Okay.
So we have.
He was certainly. Yeah, go ahead. He was certainly open to incorporating support for other transceivers, but he said there were certain restrictions, like Yaesu I think has to have an intermediary translator, and he wasn't interested in doing that. But anything with an internal sound card, he seemed pretty interested in.
So comments. Let's see. Steven Switzer says we are watching. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Steven.
Bald Eagle Adventure. It's been a while since we've seen you. That's forgotten.
Steven, this next fish is for you here. It's coming any minute now.
Great show. Yeah, no, I'll try and check it out and see if I can download it on my phone and see if I can connect it to my 6100. Like I said, it is a little bit temperamental, so play with it and see. But
cool.
Jared, what'd you have to wrap up with?
I don't think I have anything. I think someday I'll make content again for my channel, but I'm in the process of possibly buying a Suburban here pretty soon, an older one. And I think I mentioned it to you guys before.
For work or pleasure?
Just for pleasure, for taking trips.
Gonna build like a ultimate bug out vehicle.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, what's that? Dante's Peak, that Suburban.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Nice. Is that gonna be any better on gas than your pickup?
Well, the one I'm looking at has a 454 in it, so it'll be.
That's
similar.
cool. I haven't seen those. I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at, it's a 1999. It's a 3/4 ton Suburban. I'm getting it for a really good price. So
they were still making 454s in '99.
Yeah. Wow. I think in 2000 or 2001 they stopped, and that's when they started making the 8.1 liter, which is like a 496 or something like that instead of a 454. But
the RV that I bought has a V10. You know that thing's going to guzzle gas.
Yeah,
you're gonna be able to get to that gas station real fast, though.
Supposedly, it's a pretty solid, engine, but we'll see. Well,
I just don't have a lot of room in my work truck to make trips or take trips with.
Well, you travel quite a bit, right?
I'd like to. I mean, I go to Pittsburgh every month and a half or so, 6 weeks. but that's more of a work trip and just visit with my family.
Right.
So that's not too bad. But like I'm going to Texas in September. You know, I don't think I'll have the Suburban ready for that. But trips like that, you know, my trips out to California, even though it'd be a 2.5, 3 day drive,
Right.
you know, then I can start taking gear instead of having to fly and have carry on or check baggage with all my gear and stuff. It just,
You're gonna have to add some radios to it, and
oh yeah. I'll probably put some kind of a solar panel on it for charging, and
that's what the RV is gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah, another battery. You know, kind of similar to how we were going to set up. You know, not too extravagant wise. I'm not going to go overlanding or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, light overlanding maybe. But.
Owen, what have you got in your truck?
Say it again.
What radios do you have in your truck?
I have a IC 7100. That's
Nice.
my main. I love that radio, man. I'm telling you what. I bought it used, and before that, I had a 2730. It was the one that was in my Go box now, and 100 amp hour lithium phosphate battery with the DC-DC charger, 4-gauge wire running all the way from the front battery to the back, so I can flip a switch. I get 40 amps into the lithium, so I can charge it up going down the road. And then I have, like I said, 4 antennas. 2 of them hook up to the 7100, one for HF 6 meters, the other one for VHF, UHF, and the other one's for different miscellaneous things. But yeah, I love that setup. It's great for me.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just looking at the comments. It looks like some of them just popped up. Weird, because I've been looking at the comment section this whole time, and they all just kind of something with StreamYard. Sometimes you just don't see them, and it just shows all these comments. Kind of a trip. Let's see. Valoria says, I remember 9/11 vividly, and the disinformation. I heard the initial reports on Howard Stern, believe it or not. You know what? I heard that broadcast that Howard Stern did on 9/11. It wasn't half bad, actually. Kind of interesting. But yeah, it was kind of surreal listening to that guy. Again, before your time, Owen.
A little bit.
Do you even know who Howard Stern is?
I don't.
Really? You don't? Wow. All right.
Filthy.
You're not missing anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He turned out to be a pretty big douche.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah. In my humble opinion. Geocom says, I have a mobile HF loaded antenna set up on my truck, and using VARA, I've made contact back to the base station at 9 miles and out fairly reliable. I've tried to use VARA AC and get into it, and I got to the point where I loaded it on my machine and started to use it, and then just ended up going back to JS8 call because I think I'm just old and stuck in my ways now. You guys use it.
Geocom is who I'm in contact with on radio today.
Oh.
RAC has a huge learning curve.
It does. Well, it says JS8 call, but you know, like if you're not used to digital modes at all and you just jump into that, it's.
I have a computer here in the shop, but I haven't played with it at all.
And what else do we have?
Yeah, I think FL Digi was my gateway drug into digital modes, and then branched out from there. But yeah, those. But the thing to remember though is VARA is the modem. VARA AC is a client to use that modem. So there's other ways to use VARA, such as with WinLink.
Yeah, VARA FM too.
Yeah, VARA FM for sure.
Cal Molly 1 says everyone was just guessing on 9/11. Yeah. At first there wasn't a whole lot of, well, we had information because we were watching it in real time, but it was hard to kind of figure out who was doing that to us.
Wasn't coordinated.
Right. American Gazette. Hey Steve, good afternoon everyone. Welcome sir. And those are all the ones that I see so far. Yeah, it's weird, like this has happened before where like for whatever reason you'll be going through your stream, you see like 0 comments, and then they all just kind of show up in the panel to my right. I don't know why. I don't know
Then
why
there's
that
Ground
happens.
Hawk just made an point, or there you go.
Yeah, it says, hi guys, I'm looking at a SMA BNC adapter and a signal stick for a UV5R Mini. What are your
Sweet.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Do it.
Give him shit
it.
for the UV5R. Ready, go.
Do it.
No, never. What is that ZB2M Industries antenna? I'm fascinated by that one. I think that would probably really increase the effectiveness of a Bofang radio or any small HT.
I love them, love them,
Signal
love
stick?
them. Yeah, they are really, really good antennas, and I have a great warranty. I use it on a 10-watt Baofeng and love it.
What
is it
antenna
called?
is it again?
The signal stick, like the gentleman was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can find it.
I told Steven I'd catch another fish, but it ain't happening. Steven, I think you're bad luck.
Well, I don't see any more comments. And Owen, what have you got to wrap up with, sir?
Not a
I'm
whole lot.
gonna put your channel up while you're chatting.
Sounds good, thank you. Well, I certainly appreciate y'all letting me come on. It's really cool. I'd never watched. I'll be watching the rest of them from now on, so that'll be cool. Highly encourage anybody to get into Mesh Core, at least try it. Play with the node, see if you have any local. It's very cool. It really is. Like I said, especially if you live anywhere on the East Coast. Washington State is another huge one, and that's totally two different things. But Washington State has one of the craziest repeater networks over there. So check around your local neighborhood, see if there's anybody else on it. It's easy to find online, and you buy a cheap little node. This is a $50. I mean, literally, this is all you need to get going. And so it's cool stuff. And you never know. You may start a revolution with it around your neighborhood, and get on the radio as much as you can if you're licensed, and talk to people. Even if you don't know them, just talk to them, ask them how your day's going and what the weather's like over their way. And it's something new. So that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, thank you all a lot, and certainly appreciate it, and had a fun time. I'm going to sleep here in a few minutes, though. You're muted again, Terrence.
Son of a bitch. Second time that's happened to me. Thank you for joining us, is what I was saying on mute. You're definitely welcome to join us anytime. And I think it'd be cool to check in with you from time to time just to see what you're up to and how you're doing. And if you need anything, let us know.
I can add him to one of our chat groups, Terrence, if you'd like.
Sure.
If you'd like.
Do it. Yeah, do it to it. Add him to
which one?
That
Voda Soda one?
Yeah, add him to that one. If you want to join us on Signal, you're more than welcome. If you don't want to talk to Jared that much, I understand. I
talk to him every day, just about. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry, poor guy. Awesome. But anyway, for all those watching, thank you. Sorry we didn't get to your comments sooner. They showed up when they showed up, and I tried to get to all of them. But with that, I'll leave everyone watching with one final thought. If you had 1 year to prepare for your next emergency and you weren't allowed to buy another piece of equipment, what capability would you build? And anyway, thanks to everyone who joined and the chat tonight. We appreciate you spending part of your evening with us. And I hope you all will keep learning and practicing and building capability before you need it. Owen, hang on for a minute. I'm just going to remove everyone from the stage, close it out, and then I want to make sure I catch everyone's audio and everything. But with that, thanks all.